So, this is Dr. Nikita Valuri. I'm working as an assistant professor in Sridatta Institute of Pharmacy. So, today in this class, we are going to start a new topic, that is Parkinson's disease. Okay. So, what do you mean by Parkinson's disease? What is Parkinson's disease? It's also a neurodegenerative disorder. It's mainly seen in elderly aged individuals. Okay, so it's a highly characteristic neuropathological findings can be identified in this, and clinical presentations, which includes motor deficits. That means there is deficit in the functioning of motor neurons, and in some cases it also leads to mental deterioration. That means there will be changes in the alterations in the mental behavior of this patient. So coming to this classic definition, there is no particular definition for this Parkinson's disease. So it's a neurodegenerative disorder that affects predominantly dopamine producing neurons, that is dopaminergic neurons, in a specific area of the brain called substantia nigra. That means in this disease, what is mainly involved? It involves dopaminergic neurons. Damage or any damage to these dopaminergic neurons, especially in the region of substantia nigra. So then, whatever the disease or whatever the findings that we identify, that we call it as Parkinson's disease. So it's a neurodegenerative disorder. That means neurons will be degenerated because of damage to dopaminergic neurons, especially in the region of substantia nigra. Okay. See, if you see in this picture, dopamine levels in normal and Parkinson's affected neurons. So in this normal neuron, dopaminergic neuron, it will release certain amount of dopamine, which will help in the normal movement of this individual. But when coming to Parkinson's disease, this Parkinson affected neuron, it does not release required amount of dopamine. That means there is decrease in the dopamine levels. So usually this dopamine is required for normal movement of this individual. So when there is decrease in the dopamine levels, there will be movement disorders. So that is what Parkinson's disease. It's nothing but due to decrease in the dopamine because of any damage to these dopaminergic neurons, there will be disorders in the movement, that we call it as Parkinson's disease. So that is about introduction. And then coming to pathophysiology. So as we said that it mainly involves dopamine, and also it also involves damage of neurons or loss of neurons and formation of Lewy bodies. So what is Lewy bodies, that we'll be discussing now, and how much amount of these dopamines were lost in this region of substantia nigra. So that depending on that, how much amount of dopamine is lost in the substantia nigra, depending on that, the severity of the disease can be predicted. Okay. And then reduced activation of dopamine 1 and dopamine 2 receptors result in greater inhibition of thalamus and reduced activation of motor cortex. So for every neurotransmitter, there will be some receptors for it to bind. So because of decreased activation of this dopamine 1 and dopamine 2 receptors, there will not be proper binding of this dopamine to dopamine receptors, causing the inhibition of thalamus and also cortex. So the activity of whatever the activities that are going in the thalamus and motor cortex will be inhibited. So if there is any improvement in like how can we see the prognosis of the patient? If there is increase in the dopamine 1 and dopamine 2 receptors, that will indicate the improvement of the patient. Okay. So here, decrease in the dopamine or decrease in the dopamine release causes Parkinson's disease, and also loss of neurons and formation of Lewy bodies. So these were mainly involved in the pathophysiology of Parkinson's disease. So how these Lewy bodies are produced? So what is Lewy bodies? So alpha-synuclein, it's a protein which is present in the entire brain. So that is mainly present in the neuronal protein. It is mainly present in like substantial nigra region and presynaptic terminals of neurons. So there, this alpha-synuclein protein is present. So because of any damage or because of this any overexpression of this alpha-synuclein protein, it will be the reason for the neurodegenerative disorders. So it's an abundantly expressed neuronal protein. So That means this was the protein which neuronal protein which is present the entire brain. So if there is any changes to this alpha synuclein, it causes some kind of neurodegenerative disorders. Okay. And then alpha synuclein is 140 amino acid. As I said that it is a protein. It's a 140 amino acid. Generally, it is found as unfolded protein. Usually, proteins are like folded proteins, folded amino acids, but this is an unfolded protein, predominantly locus in the presynaptic terminals of neurons. So that means it is located in the presynaptic terminals of neurons. This protein is present in presynaptic terminals of neurons. So it is found as an unfolded protein, unfolded monomer, that is amino acid alpha synuclein monomer. So it undergoes conversion to alpha synuclein oligomer. That means there will be formation of multiple number of these chains. So when these together will bind, it forms an alpha synuclein fibril. So when this alpha synuclein fibril binds to these neurofilaments and ubiquitin and alpha beta crystalline, it undergoes the formation of Levy body. So this is what Levy body, how it is formed. So overexpression of this synuclein monomer. So when these synuclein monomers were activated, and if they undergo mutations, they will be converted into oligomer and then fibril, and then these will be converted into, transformed into Levy bodies. So here the pathophysiology includes certain events, that is primary events and secondary events. So primary events include cell or tissue senescence. Senescence is aging of any cells or tissues. It under genetical factors and environmental factors. So all these will start this presynaptic alpha synuclein microaggregation. So under these causes, these were the risk factors or the etiology of Parkinson's disease, either aging of the cell or genetic factors and environmental factors, or because of these factors, what will happen? There will be aggregation of alpha synuclein. So this is the single alpha synuclein. Aggregation of many of these alpha synucleins forms this alpha synuclein fibril. So it causes microaggregation of these alpha synuclein proteins. So where these are present in the presynaptic neurons, presynaptic region of the neuron. So when this gets aggregated, what will they do? They will impair the neurotransmitter release. So whatever the neurotransmitters that are going to take place in that presynaptic neuron, so presynaptic vesicle of the neuron, that transmission will be inhibited. So thereby it causes postsynaptic degeneration and neurodegeneration. So because of that, there will be neurodegeneration. And then, so, and also during this aggregation of this presynaptic alpha synuclein, there will be formation of Levy bodies. So Levy bodies are not normal structures. Only when there is diseased condition, these so thereby it causes cell death, that is neuronal cell death, that is the secondary events. And if you see this picture, so these were the causes like genetical vulnerability, oxidative stress, faulty immune regulation, abnormal protein processing, toxic ion accumulation, unknown environmental factors. So all these were the contributing factors for Parkinson's disease. So when there is abnormal protein processing, what will happen? There will be damage or loss of dopaminergic neurons in substantia nigra pars compacta of basal ganglia. That means because of this abnormal protein processing, what is that abnormal protein processing? Just now we have discussed alpha synuclein will be converted into Levy bodies. That is what, so when these alpha synuclein aggregates were formed, they cause loss of this presynaptic neurotransmitter transmission. So it leads to formation of Levy bodies, thereby it causes aggregate cell degeneration. So when there is degeneration of these neurons, it causes dementia, that is memory loss, and cognitive impairment. So this is how we'll be getting this dementia. And then because of this inhibition of the neurotransmission, there will be decrease in the production of dopamine. So For that, our body will be trying to replace this dopamine, but that is also that mechanism is also lost. That compensatory mechanism is also failed. At that time, there will be decrease in the activation of direct basal ganglial pathway and decreased inhibition of indirect ganglial pathway. So because of that, decreased activation of direct basal ganglial pathway, there will be decrease in the movement initiation. That means movement initiation will not be taking place, and because of inhibition of indirect ganglial pathway, there will be increase in the movement inhibition. So movement inhibition will be increased and movement initiation will be decreased. That means there will not be so proper movement in this basal ganglial pathway. Okay. So because of activation of direct basal ganglial pathway, there will be decrease in the movement initiation, and because of inhibition of decrease in the inhibition of the indirect ganglial pathway, there will be increase in the movement inhibition. So movement inhibition is increased and movement activation is decreased. So because of that, there will be loss of movement. Okay. And also there will be increase in the thalamus inhibition and decrease in the excitatory input to motor cortex. So because of this, there will be bradykinesia. Bradykinesia is nothing but slow movement, and hypokinesia, that is nothing but decreased movement. Okay. If this takes place in this synaptic neurons output, there will be increase in the reticular formation inhibition and increased inhibition of reticulospinal tract pathway, and also alteration of limbic striatum thalamic feedback circuits causes psychiatric manifestations like anxiety and depression. Okay, so when this compensatory mechanism fails, if there is increase in GPI output, if there is increase in SNR output, and increase alteration of this limbic striatum, depending on that, there will be the symptoms. So when there is increase in the GPI output, like G protein coupled GPI output, there will be bradykinesia and hypokinesia. When there is increase in SNR output, there will be impaired regulation of muscle tone, that is hypertonia can be seen. If there is involvement of limbic striatum thalamic pathway, then it will cause psychiatric manifestations like anxiety and depression. And this hypertonia, again, it is of two types: cogwheel rigidity and lead pipe rigidity. Cogwheel rigidity is nothing but intermittent resistance during ROM. What is ROM? Rapid movement, and consistent rigidity throughout the body. Okay. And again, this hypokinesia and bradykinesia, these were again classified into four different types: finger or heel toe tapping, or decreased finger or heel toe tapping, mask like faces, shuffling gait and freezing, resting pill rolling tremor. So these were the symptoms. So because these were the causes, if you see this, these were the causes, and this is the mechanism or pathway, and these were the symptoms. So if you see these abbreviations, GPA is nothing but globus pallidus interna, substantia nigra, pars reticulata. This ROM is nothing but range of motion. So these were the symptoms. These green color ones are symptoms. This is the pathway, and this was the pathogenesis and clinic causes, pathogenesis, and clinical findings. So this picture shows clearly the exact mechanism of Parkinson's disease. Okay. So this is a substantial nigra pars compacta, pars compacta and striatum. This is a normal condition. In the substantial nigra, there will be release of dopamine. So this takes place in the normal striatum. It causes the release of increased production of acetylcholine and glutamate and decreased production of GABA. So this is usually takes place in the normal striatum. So when there is damage to this substantial nigra, or when there is formation of Lewy bodies, or so because of that, there will be loss of dopaminergic neurons. So dopaminergic transmission will not be taking place. So it causes Parkinsonism. And the treatment for this is anticholinergics, amantadine, L-dopa antagonists, and MAO-B inhibitors and COMT inhibitors. So this will be studying in the next class clearly. Okay. So this dopamine causes inhibition of GABA generally, and activation of acetylcholine and glutamate. Because of this loss of dopamine, what will happen? There will be increase in the GABA, decrease in acetylcholine, and decrease in glutamate will be there. And coming to clinical presentations, so tremors, bradykinesia, rigid muscles, impaired posture and balance, loss of automatic movements, speech changes, and writing changes. So these were the signs and symptoms of Parkinson's disease. And this also you have seen in this picture. These were the clinical findings. All these were the clinical findings of Parkinson's disease. So there will be resting tremors, like even the patient is lying on the bed, he will be having tremors like activity, rigidity, bradykinesia, decreased movement, postural instability. So resting tremor is often the first and foremost symptom of this Parkinson's disease. And then muscular rigidity, it involves increased muscular resistance to passive range of motion and can be cogwheel in nature. So it affects both upper and lower extremities, and also facial muscles are also sometimes gets affected. So this is the clinical presentations. Coming to diagnosis, so diagnosis, it mainly depends on the physical examination of the patient, considering the patient's history and complaints. So depending on that only the actual diagnosis will be depending upon. And if at all it is required, we'll go for MRI in order to identify whether there is any formation of Lewy bodies. But Lewy body formation doesn't say that it's only because of Parkinson's disease, because Lewy bodies are also produced in other neurological disorders like in Alzheimer's disease also. So mainly it depends, diagnosis mainly depends on the patient's complaints. So if the patient complains of resting tremor or rigidity and prominent asymmetry, positive response to dopaminergic medications, then we can say that he is Parkinsonic. And other symptoms include decreased dexterity, that means unable to write properly, difficulty arising from a chair, postural instability, fascinating gait, dysarthria, that means muscle movement won't be there properly, difficulty in swallowing, reduced facial expression, freezing at initiation of movement, and hypophonia, micrographia. If they ever, if you ask them to write, they will write very small letters. Hypophonia cannot, like even volume will be decreased. Bladder disturbances, constipation, changes in the blood pressure, dementia, anxiety, depression, sleepiness, and insomnia. Some people will be always sleeping, some people will not have sleep. Insomnia, obstructive sleep apnea. So during a like decrease, like shortness of breath will be there during the sleep. It causes the obstruction to their sleep, that is obstructive sleep apnea. And several other conditions must be excluded, which include medication-induced Parkinsonism, like the patient who are taking antipsychotics, phenothiazines, antiemetics, or metoclopramide regularly, they will be having the signs and symptoms of these, which were seen in Parkinson's disease. So, if we take the history, like what are the medication history, if they say that these medications they were using, then we cannot consider it as Parkinson's disease. So, that time it is excluded. And essential tremors and corticobasal ganglionic degeneration, multiple system atrophy, and progressive supranuclear palsy. If the patient is having any of these diseases, at that time also we cannot consider it as Parkinson's disease. So this is all about the diagnosis of Parkinson's disease.